Hey kids, join the club. Get the all-new CCXCC t-shirt made with 100% mutant power. Be like these cool kids. Get it now on dinobeast.com and chrisandersoncomics.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the CCXCC Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club. It's just so much to say. Man, but yeah, awesome. We are here talking about issue 116. I'm joined, as always, with John Coates. John, how you doing?
I am doing terrific, sir. Thank you.
Better than I am stumbling through the intro of this one. Hoo-wee! This is a great Wolverine issue.
Oh, yeah.
And just look at that cover. Look at those wild colors with the with Colossus being lit on fire from the bottom up to this blue face of the reflection from the sky. That's crazy looking.
Yeah, great John Byrne cover here with the X-Men plus Ka-Zar being burned alive at the stake.
Dang, man. Death to those who violate the land and the laws of the sun god. Woo-wee.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah. They're tough.
Right. Well, when we last met, I think we went through the Sauron sort of saga as the X-Men found themselves in Savage Land, and sort of, they beat him back into his human form, and kind of, I guess, forgave him a little bit or something like that, as best as the X-Men can, these bunch of curmudgeon-y folks. And they were going to help take care of this other problem that Ka-Zar had with this sun god, building this giant city and in the Savage Land. But Cyclops said, no. We got to get back. We got to make sure that, Magneto is not going to take out Professor X. So they were out of there. But as they were leaving, all of a sudden, a cold snap happened, and it started snowing, and the lakes froze over, and something was going on. I don't think we found out exactly what was going on, but needless to say, it made the X-Men stop and pause and say, all right, whatever this is, we're going to help you fix it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and easy. I'm sure it's going to be fine.
Quick little detour.
Yeah.
No problem.
No biggie.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's pop her open. Aha, yeah. Yeah, look at that.
Here we go. Here's our X-Men to save the Savage Land.
Yes, somebody likes Will Eisner.
Yeah, that's right. Claremont Byrne joint again here. Terry Austin on inks. We've switched back to Tom Orzechowski on letters and Glynis Wein on colors.
Okay. So I like this composition. I love the title there. I love how they're climbing in a nice line there, but then also this space that he left for the credits to be there. Actually, in my version, we'll see when we go back for the classic version, there is it's actually some dialogue that's going on there. So it's kind of cool to see. It'll be cool to see them next to each other.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love when you get like these white colors, like for this, like they're in the snow, because then their costumes all just pop.
Yes,
with all their bright primary colors and stuff, and they just look great.
Yeah, so cool.
And Ka-Zar here is like laying it on us. Our journey is ended, X-Men. Beyond this ridge lies our thrice damned destination.
Thrice damned.
Woo, that's not good.
Woo, it's not good at all. And boom. Okay, so Byrne is kind of taken at, well, I mean, I guess it's Byrne is taking after the Kirby model here of page 2-3 is a double page spread.
Yeah.
And what an awesome one it is. Look at the vastness of this. So you got the whole team here up in front in the foreground, awesome. You know, he's been able to, you know, keep him on the left side in your foreground. But then you got this massive city. And then, you know, he and Austin go in and just like noodle in all this little tiny tech and this thin line on the city to make it appear like it is just so vast and so far away. And this city design is just awesome.
Yeah, super sci-fi, super alien looking.
Yeah. You know, I designed a city similar to this with these spires, and it was sprawling and massive for my first book, Lost Angels. And I don't know how, but this is the spires are exactly what they looked like in my book. And I don't think I've ever seen this before. So there must be some sort of gene pool thing, you know, that I saw something that he saw, or, you know, somewhere along the way. You know,
yeah, I mean, they've got this kind of organic kind of shape, kind of like icicles, you know,
yeah,
that kind of a thing going on.
Yeah, but also like techno icicles, right?
Yeah, yeah,
really cool design.
And basically, the Savage Land around this giant, massive domed city is just like dying in winter.
Right. And I think that we find out kind of right away that like the reason that it's turning into winter is because this thing is plugging up the thermal vents that were heating up the Savage Land.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in a way, this sun god or whatever he is like self-defeating. You know, he wants to protect the Savage Land or, you know, whatever, but he's destroying it through this process.
Yeah, and when we first saw him, he like sort of saved the Savage Land from these aliens. But then all of a sudden now he's killing it, everything outside the dome.
Doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah. And so here's our X-Men hanging out with Ka-Zar, trying to make a plan to sort of assault this city. But they get interrupted immediately by spears thrown by these barbarians riding on big pterodactyl dinosaurs.
Yes.
Awesome.
Not Sauron, just pterosaurs.
Yeah. Cripes, it's a flaming Air Force.
Yeah.
Good call, Wolverine. And they fly in the skies. Our Storm and Banshee gonna help, you know, try and take the fight to them.
Yeah.
Here we get Nightcrawler just teleporting
up there,
into the air so he can get a punch in.
I will point out the interesting kind of rule of threes that he uses consistently on this page. You know, generally like a triangular composition is pleasing to the eye, or a set of a row of threes is, and every single thing on here is sort of either makes a triangle or has three in a row. So, you know, he's definitely thinking about that as he's working.
Yeah. And that's probably a good thing to think about, like when you've got like a big team you're trying to do a book on.
Yeah.
You know, like you don't want to you can't put everybody in a panel.
Right. You get this 9-panel grid here.
Yeah, that's cool. You don't see that too often in X-Men.
No, you don't. You don't see it too often in comics, period. And this is before it's popularized by Frank Miller. You know, this is well before Dark Knight Returns.
Yeah, and Watchmen.
And Watchmen, yep.
And stuff. This was probably a favorite issue of Alan Moore's, probably. Got the idea right here. So we get all this great battle action here. You know, Cyclops trying to use his eye beams, but he gets clocked in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And just knocked cold by this dude. And then just picked up by the pterosaur. And then another one comes in and just grabs Colossus with its tail. Like he's like just useless. And then they use a net to snare the Banshee. And all of a sudden, 3 X-Men are just gone, just like that. And then Ka-Zar gets knocked down by the netted Banshee, and then they grab him too. they just got taken apart. Amateurs.
Yeah.
And so then the rest of our remaining 3 X-Men, they're just like, oh, they're flying away. And Wolverine's like, yeah, because they couldn't carry any more of us.
Yeah. Look how awesome the drawing of Nightcrawler bamfing back is.
Yeah.
I would never think to draw it like that. And you can just feel it like flaming up into the air. It's great.
Yeah, it's like the Flash, and like that's all you need is to see his body, just a little bit of his body, just in the middle of the smoke like that.
That's such a great drawing.
Yeah, I mean that's really, it's sort of like setting up like this is how you do Nightcrawler's mid teleportation stuff like from here on.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, here I figured it out, and so now, we get Wolverine is basically going to kind of take charge now that Cyclops and the Banshee are both like gone and Ka-Zar is gone. So now he's going to take the lead and telling the Nightcrawler and Storm like, hey, we're going to go into that city and we're going to rescue our buddies. And they're like, Nightcrawler's like, what about Zabu? What about the saber-toothed cat? And Wolverine kind of like calms it down and kind of talks to him.
Yeah, he tells him to go get reinforcements.
Yeah. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's like they're buddies.
Yep.
And sends Zabu off. And Nightcrawler's like, were you really talking to that tiger? And Wolverine's just like, yeah. Like it's no big thing. And Storm's like, truly there is more to you than meets the eye. And Wolverine kind of drops this almost like ragging on himself that he's short, like at my size, babe, that ain't hard.
So is that like a part of his powers that carried on, like that he can like speak to animals?
I don't think so. And I think it's more of that it's not that he necessarily, not that he didn't like talk to it in its way, or he couldn't like 100% like understand it. But it's more of he like he's a ferocious dude, and so like he can meet eye to eye with this ferocious predator, and they kind of see each other as equals, and so he could suggest something and the cat knew what he wanted him to do.
Right, but everybody's so baffled by it, like it makes it seem like he can like literally talk to animals or something. And I was wondering if they were laying the groundwork for that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's definitely what it kind of like almost reads as, like they're like hedging the bets, almost like, do we want to make him in the future like really almost like have this telepathic connection with animals, or do we not want to do that?
Right.
They're like, so really, like, as we cover these 2 pages here, like for you Wolverine fans, this is like a moment here.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So after they send Zabu off, here they come down to the entrance, or an entrance into this big city, and there's this sentry here, and Wolverine sneaks up on him and takes him out, and we get this little snicked.
Oh, wow. And
the face of like Storm like covering her mouth, and Nightcrawler's all like, my God. And then they're like, well, Wolverine, he's like a jungle cat, like he shows no mercy. And he's like, coast is clear, team. And I read some stuff where this was like a bit of an issue between some of the creatives when they were working on the book. Like,
interesting.
Claremont's intention was for Wolverine to just sort of like knock the guy out.
Yeah.
And then Byrne's intention wanted him to like kill him.
Yeah.
And Byrne talked with like the editor in chief who agreed. So then they got the letterist to put in the snicked.
Oh, see,
And
that's
Claremont didn't
interesting.
know that.
That's interesting because when we'll take a look, let's remember to go back to page 7 of the classic, because they moved panels around and changed some stuff in here.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
And and like the way the rest of the, like, they don't dwell on it too much, other than like Storm saying like, well, he strikes with no mercy.
Right.
I mean, that could be no mercy because you just like knocked this dude
him
out quick.
Yeah.
And then they push into sort of the underworkings of this great castle city, and it like stinks in here. They're like, ooh, the stench.
Yeah.
They're like in the garbage area,
Mm-hmm.
And Wolverine's pointing where they got to go, and all of a sudden out comes this little dinosaur, just like snaps right on his hand. And he's like, no, everyone stay back. And with his hand in the thing's mouth, snicked, pops his claws and kills it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, not all the way through, but
yeah,
but the panel where he is pulling it out makes it very clear what just happened.
Yeah. And right here is sort of our panel that's finally going to start to give us some more Wolverine abilities here. Storm is worried about him. Your arm, you're hurt. And Wolverine's like, it's okay. I heal real fast. And the beast ain't been born that can break my bones.
There we go. First time that we're talking about his healing factor.
And first time we're talking about maybe his bones are somehow tough and can't be broken.
Okay.
Yeah. First time. So this is 1978, almost 1979.
Mm-hmm. So 2 to 3 years after he's created, right?
Yeah. Because Wolverine is what, 75? When
maybe 75 or 76. Yeah.
Yeah. Right before Giant Size.
Yep.
So yeah. So interesting things happening here. And more of these dinosaurs are coming forward, coming at him, and Storm just creates a flash flood and just sort of washes them away.
Yeah, she harkens back to when they were at Valhalla Mountain, where she did the same thing.
Yep.
And so this page here got me thinking about Byrne, that even more than his faces that he's kind of known for in his art, he's really his backgrounds and his environments are probably his strongest thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, he's not taking like a panel. He's not taking panels off that often, doing like no backgrounds or anything.
Yeah,
it's really great the way it really just sets these characters in these settings, and it just like makes the world just seem so much bigger.
Yeah,
I think.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And here we go as they're coming through the city. This middle panel is great with Nightcrawler kind of creeping along the sort of the pipes.
Yeah, I love that
above
one.
And everyone else is down below. And they finally get to sort of this middle arena, giant arena in the middle of this city. And they're looking way down here. You can't even see the figures that are down here. They're so far away.
Yeah.
And you get this great petrified man, like Easter Island's, head sculpture.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of, they're asking like, hey, Nightcrawler, can you teleport way down there? And this is another moment where he's like, well, I've never tried to teleport that far.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to leave me too weak to do anything, but I don't know if I can do it, but I'm going to try.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just seeing how far they can stretch their powers.
Yeah. And so now we cut down to the middle of our arena, and here we get our captured X-Men are all sort of trapped, powers neutralized by vibranium. which is interesting.
Yeah.
And we get, here's our petrified man. Now he's got this crazy cloak and this big medallion. And our Zaladane here, priestess, is hanging out with him. And right in the foreground, Colossus is just burning at the stake here. And his body is just red hot.
Yeah, you would think it would just turn into an oven on the inside and it would just cook him, right?
Yeah, which is what he's worried about here. We kind of get his thoughts that right now he doesn't feel any pain, but he thinks eventually he's going to feel it.
Yeah,
and he wonders, will I melt?
Yeah.
Woo, that's a terrifying thing to have to think about.
That is terrifying.
Uh-huh. And these guys, Garrock, they're just standing there watching, just like, well, let's see how long it takes him to actually feel this.
Yeah, they're like kids with a magnifying glass to an anthill.
Yeah. But they're never going to find out, because here comes Nightcrawler. He teleports. He's like, made it. And he unblinds Cyclops. So then Cyclops can use his power, and he blasts sort of Colossus free. Zarak. And oh my gosh, look at all these. Oh, look at this! Look at this Fan 4 ad with Herbie. What?
Yep. And Godzilla.
Yeah, and baby Godzilla too.
Yep.
With him.
Weird.
So, anyways, here we go. And Colossus is free, and then Cyclops uses his little move that he's used a lot in these issues, where he's got to zap whatever is holding Banshee's mouth free. Like, he's done that before.
That's great. So this is an example of, well, I'll show you later, but it's an example of where color really helps, because they turned everything in the background blue on mine, and you don't even notice it.
Interesting. And the Banshee, now that he's free, whips around, and he's using his sonic scream to just like shatter spears and stuff, which is pretty cool. And then here comes in the background, here comes Storm and Wolverine to join the fight. And Colossus, you got to imagine he's like red hot metal.
Yeah.
Guys. Just, man, he's doing some damage.
The human branding iron.
Yeah.
Brand you with his fist.
And then Storm, uses some lightning to free Cyclops, and he sees that our petrified man is running away.
Yep.
And so he's going to take off after him. This sucker's not getting away.
Yeah. Great environments again here. Cool angle of him running away with the cape flapping behind him.
Yeah. Super cool. Byrne always does a good job of when he's like drawing like the backs of characters, like running, and then like these kind of downward shots of them.
Yeah.
Like you always feel their movement really well.
Yeah, agreed.
And I feel like this panel down here in this sort of long one, where you get to see the petrified man's cape at the top, sort of going out of view, and then Cyclops poking in at the bottom.
Yeah. I think I would have flipped that panel so that he's looking around from the left, and then guys going to the right. Just I think the eye would have flowed a lot better there, but it's still pretty great.
And Cyclops is in pursuit. And then they go all the way up these stairs till they get to the top, the very top of this city.
Yeah.
That's a heck of a staircase, because remember that long shot of how big this thing was.
Yeah.
But Cyclops is in great shape.
He's in great shape.
He can take those stairs no problem. And here's what Garrock was doing. He had to get to the very top so he can, to this little sort of device at the top of his city, so he can like suck the energy kind of out of the city and out of the heat vent that it's sitting over, so he can power himself up.
Yep.
And we get these great shots of our petrified man kind of like glowing, and he's like getting all powered up and he looks all crazy. And then it's eye blast versus eye blast.
Yeah, it is.
Woo!
Shining for the whole Savage Land to see from the top of that thing.
Yeah, man. Eyeball on eyeball crime. And then we just get, here's it's just energy and light and just crazy crackling going on here as they're just duking it out.
So cool.
With their eyes. And as they're doing that, down below, everyone else is fighting. All of a sudden, like the city is just starting to collapse on them.
Yep.
Because the power, the energy is being all drained out of it, and everything's starting to crumble away because it wasn't built very well, I guess. And so now everyone's like, well, we got to get out of here. Everybody get out. And then we flash back to our top, and Cyclops and Garak are still going at it, but the floor below them just collapses in, and Cyclops gets saved by Banshee, and Storm flies down to try and save Garak.
Mm-hmm.
And he's heading towards this deep pit where all the heat and stuff under the city, sort of the center of everything. And this interesting sort of panel compositions here as she's like trying to get to him. But as they're going deeper and deeper in this hole, and it's becoming like hotter and humid, and she can just feel oxygen. Less oxygen, feel just sort of like it's almost too far, and then she can't get him. She has to turn back or she's going to die. And so he just sinks, just keeps falling down into this center of the earth kind of situation here, and she has to fly back. What do you think of this page here?
I love this page. I think the pacing is just really great, and it's super hard to do things with these long, skinny panels like that, but because it is this sort of falling thing, it forces the momentum and the direction, of it. The way that he's got it laid out with the wide, the first panel has the wider bottom than the top. It leaves all that room to show you the hole, and as she's falling down, and then the next two are the same shape, so it allows him to have this where she's reaching down for the hand and then push closer, on the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then have her sort of have to, it's an upshot on the last one as she's sort of giving up here. And you can have most of the action happen above it, and it just works perfectly and then right down to the swoosh, of her coming back up here at the bottom. I think it's very effective.
Yeah. It like slows down time.
Yeah. It could have been a hot mess, but he did it really mm-hmm. well. I'm always talking about how, you really only use a funky grid layout if it serves a purpose, because so many comics just throw layouts all over the place for nothing, for no reason at all. But this, everything it's thought out, he really put thought behind it. And that's the mark of a great storyteller. Yeah.
Well said. And here we go. Our X-Men and other people, they got out of the city in the nick of time as it's sort of exploding and collapsing in on itself down that shaft where Garak fell. And all of a sudden, shakaw, here comes Storm out of the wreckage that she made it. And she lands far away from him, and Banshee's like, well, that's weird. I better go see if she's okay. But Wolverine, he can tell. He's like, leave her be, Irish. She came up empty-handed. think about it. She went down that hole to save a life, but whatever happened, she'd rather work it out on her own.
Yeah, this issue is really starting to fill out Wolverine as a character, where he has these moments where he, knows the humanity behind people,
Yeah, there's more to him than just being angry and yelling at Cyclops.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a great little reminder of kind of a Storm has always said here that she doesn't want to take a life ever, and she tried to save this dude, even though he was evil, but wasn't able to do it. And so, this great shot of her at the end, just trying to cope with what just happened.
Yeah.
And then as we sort of wrap up here, a fortnight later, now the X-Men are getting stuff loaded onto this cool little raft situation so that they can leave the Savage Land. And Wolverine is saying goodbye to Zabu. And here we get our Sauron, Mr. Carl Lycos, saying that he's going to stay in the Savage Land and it's best that the rest of the world just thinks he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And he's shaking hands with Cyclops like, they put our past in our past,
Yeah.
Water under the bridge. And then Cyclops uses his eye blast as a motor for the raft.
Yes.
Awesome. To shoot him out of this cave into the open ocean, where it's a crazy storm going on, of course.
Of course. Can't get out that easy.
Yeah. And that's where it leaves our X-Men in this one of the worst gales ever to hit the Drake Passage.
Man.
And the next issue, the least expected X-Men origin of them all. Psy-War.
Ding, ding, ding. Awesome.
And that brings to close our Savage Land adventure that spanned a couple issues here and ended with 116.
Awesome. Let's take a look at the classic version now. Look at that cover.
That's cool.
Look at him. Cool. Look at him go. This is Adams inking himself, which is pretty cool. Very, very capable inker, as we know. If you've seen any of his recent work, he is just out of control with his inking. It's gorgeous, hatching all over the place. Really cool inside illustration there.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, he just looks like a corpse.
Yeah,
I love it. And then you'll see here, like in yours, it was that was where the credits went.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just a little bit of added dialogue here. Just a little bit more flair. That's all. And for the most part, it is the same as your issue. There were a couple things. Let me just kind of see as we're going through here. What's that?
That stuff's new at the bottom of the page on the right.
Oh yes. Okay, so here we go. This is new. Yep. And so instead of at this moment him taking the guy out, it's and killing him, although it is still in here, I noticed after I had mentioned that. It's a moment where you get this spot where Storm just tosses Nightcrawler into the shadows and then lays right on top of Wolverine as the pterosaurs come flying in.
Wild.
Yeah. And then they're gone. There's others scattered in different altitudes, and the air patrol, it's almost constant. And she said, my weather power can generate a slight mist to help shroud our approach. But if I make it too thick, they may alert them to our presence. And so he says, face facts, troops. This is a combat situation. I can't let anybody see us. and anyone who does can't be left able to sound an alarm.
Ooh, so yeah, so that's all new.
So this panel was in there or no?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where it picked up back here. And then yes, see that he does take him out there like that.
The making it red on Nightcrawler's black, it's easy to miss because that's just like his costume color is red on black.
Yeah, there's a couple of coloring situations in here that, like here, so how they make it all blue back here. I didn't even pay attention to what was going on back there because they pushed it too far back with the coloring. Yeah. And same thing here, as we were talking about where he zaps it off. I didn't even notice that.
Oh yeah,
you know. But yeah, and I don't think there's, other than that, I don't think there's anything different about this issue except for, check that out, you get a Frank Miller Wolverine pinup, which is pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
that's worth the price of picking up the classic.
Yeah, really cool. I think it's done on duotone paper too, because you've got this like washy stripe thing here going on with it. Duotone, as some of you may or may not know, was paper that you had two different chemicals on a white paper. If you laid one chemical down, it would do diagonal. It would like a magic. What do they call it? Like a invisible ink thing, right? So you would lay it down, and it would make lines going diagonally one direction, and if you laid the other chemical down, it would bring out lines in the other direction. So you could get this sort of perfect cross hatching on it. Early Ninja Turtles was done with that, and that's how they got the shading in that.
Yep.
But it's highly, highly, highly toxic. They don't make it anymore. It will kill you. Don't even touch the stuff if you come across it, apparently. But yeah, really cool to see that. And then as we go, here we go with the backup story. And this is after everything has happened. So this is going to show how little I know about certain aspects of this. I have no idea where this goes and the characters they're about to show. I've never seen them, never heard of them. So maybe you can fill me in, or maybe you don't want to fill me in or anybody else that, is a newbie here. But I have no idea what this is. There's some yelling here, and so they run to see that Banshee says that Storm is gone. She left a note just saying that she's going to go swimming. Now, I don't know why he's freaking out about that, but maybe it's because the last time she went swimming, Sauron zapped her.
Yeah, every time somebody leaves this village, there's like dinosaurs or there's something bad happening.
Yeah, and, Storm, she's got to be free. It's a wonder that she has clothes on half the time. So here she is, out there swimming, and as she goes down, this out of the depths, this giant sea creature comes, and there is a scuba diver of sorts who is tangled in their harpoon. And so she goes, and the person is like, no, save yourself. She's not going to do it. She untangles them, and this thing's going down, and she gets sort of like turned around because all of a sudden they're going towards the surface, and she could have sworn that they were going down, and it surfaces here. She has this terrible flashback to being a child again, and as is happened a million times here, and then this hand comes and sort of lifts her out from the clutches of death, and it is this like princess woman, and she's in this fantastic chamber, and she says her name is Marin, and she's like, what? I was just in Savage Land, what happened? And she sort of says that in the bottom of the pool in Savage Land, there's this sort of like thin veil to another world, and I was down there fishing, and I crossed into yours and you crossed into mine, and now we're here on this ship. And as she it's like, oh, I'm free, this is amazing, I feel so good here. she goes floating around. Well, it turns out the ship is on the back of this Valcor looking dog.
Valcor.
Yeah. No idea. I have no idea what this is. Just from the way that her name is spelled with the apostrophe in it, I feel like it's like Shar Empire kind of stuff, but maybe not, because they're not bird looking at all, really. And so yeah, she's just sort of like she just feels so like free and wonderful being here. In fact, she sort of like helps them and defeat their enemies and fight. And she talks about how they're so much more merciful to the enemy than the enemy would have been to them, you know. And they, you know, they have these celebrations, and she's flying around and doing these wonderful things. And apparently, Marin had this daughter, and she sort of is realizing that Marin has like been taking care of her, like, and acting almost as if she's, you know, her daughter. And she's like, you know, I have to go home. And so she gives her this sort of crystal that is bonded to her. So with it, you'll know if I am well or ill, as I shall of you, and should you ever wish to return, it will lead you to the junction. Till then, a place will ever be set for you at my table and in my heart. Good fortnight, daughter. Farewell, mother. And that's, it says next issue, High Adventure. So I don't know if it's a continuation of that. I don't know what this is. I don't know what it is. I've never seen this. And yeah, you know, like I keep saying, like the Claremont run of X-Men, it's almost like Grimm fairy tales or something. It's like, you know, these stories just from being around comics and catching glimpses of things there. But every once in a while, a story will come up, like even in Grimm's fairy tales, there's a story about a kid who got kidnapped and put into a cage. And so he like chewed his finger into a key and used the bone of his finger to let himself out. And I had never heard that one. This is sort of that kind of situation. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, it's another one of my favorite backups in classic X-Men. So great. It's just this whole fantasy world, sci-fi, amazing adventure that Storm gets to go on. And it's like, you know, dimensional pool in the bottom of a lake in the Savage Land to get there. Like, totally awesome.
Are we going to see that again? This again?
Yes.
Okay. Short answer is yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty positive, unless I made it up in my brain. But yeah.
Because what a weird.
It's just crazy. I do wonder if, you know, you referenced like Falcor. I do wonder if Neverending Story was like an inspiration for doing this, because like the princess's headgear is kind of like, you know, the little princess, you know, that they're trying to save. She has that kind of a weird, similar kind of a head thing when you don't see any of her hair. And then, you know, of course, the flying, sort of a flying wolf who looks a lot like the sort of flying wolf-like dragon.
Yeah. So this is 1988. So definitely,
it'd be out. It's out. Yeah. By then, but yeah. And look at that another great Bolton cover there on the back.
Very Flash really Gordon. Like Flash Gordon-y, you know? I hope that they run with this kind of storyline. It looks really, really fun. So we'll see. I'll see. You may know. But yeah. All right. Well, that is the end of the Savage Land Tales. We end it with issue 116.
Yeah. And once again, for all of our Wolverine fans, if you don't have this issue, you are missing out. Because they finally give him healing powers and tougher than normal bones, though we don't know why yet.
We don't know why yet. John, what do you got on your chest there, buddy? Oh my God.
Oh, well, thanks for noticing. Just the new CCXC t-shirt with art by none other than Chris Anderson. Look at
I
that.
did draw that.
Look at that.
Yep. Check out that weird banshee. That weird little Lucky Charms banshee.
Awesome. He's over here.
Yeah, he's over there. You can't be in the club if you don't have a t-shirt. So go to the show notes and get your t-shirts. Otherwise, get out of here.
That's right.
That's not true. So continue watching anyway, please. And thanks to all of you who have been chiming in to the comments and stuff. It makes us realize that we're not screaming into a void, which would be kind of weird. But honestly, we would be doing this anyway because this is just awesome. And so next week, we're going to have our good friend, Matt King, return to talk about an issue that is special to his heart and show us a cool artifact. And that'll be issue 117. Wait, how numbers?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, 117.
117. Yes, 117. So, get your classic X-Men issue 23 or find the issue itself or, subscribe to however you got to do it. I'm not your mom. Just figure it out and come back to us next Wednesday. We love you. Until next time, John, what do we say?
Be excellent.
Word. Later, everybody.
Later.
Check out DinoBeast.com for all things John Coates like Dino Beast, Ninja 4, M.L.F, Berserker, and more. ChrisAndersonComics.com is where it's at for books like Chaotic Neutral, Spectral, A Showcase of Fear, Lost Angels, and more, plus apparel and original art. Also a link to Patreon where you can read Three-Headed Pigman now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We'll see you next time on the Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club.